Dude,
So,
do you know how many times I laid in bed fighting with Opie and Anthony? Like
in your head?
fighting. Because I wanted to be on that show so bad. Like so bad. And then I got on, and I've talked to both of them about this, but I got on, and and by the way, I got on, and it was a good experience, but it wasn't the best because it was when they were fighting, and so no one was talking. And so like everything was wrong. Everything went wrong with that appearance, in my opinion, as a fan of the show, right? So then I go on to do it again, and E-Rock comes up to me. We're at Montreal, and he's like, "Hey, just so you know, you're uninvited." I said, "What?" He was like, one of their guests that they have on, one of their regulars doesn't want you on the show. He doesn't like you, and he doesn't want you on the show, so you're not allowed to do the show. And I
What?
was, yeah, dude, don't get me started. It's a fucking
What
and
kind of a fucking asshole would do that to another fucking comedian? I know I got to know who it is if they're a regular.
yeah. Oh, you know the person well. And so he and I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" And they're like, "Yeah, he's not letting you on." I think E-Rock was buzzed. We were at Montreal, and I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, so you're gonna get a text tonight saying that you're not allowed to do the show, but it's because of this guy. Everyone in the show loves you." And he was like, "It's bullshit." And so I was like,
Aren't you
"Okay."
blowing up E-Rock's spot right now, or does it not matter because the
Doesn't
fucking
matter. It really doesn't matter to him now. He's over at Kumia's network, and it wasn't. Anthony didn't give a shit, and neither did Jim. It was Opie. By the way, I don't have any problems with Opie, and I've talked to Opie about this, but yeah, it was Opie that kind of put the kibosh on it because of someone else, and so then from that time on, like
Wait,
I
did
would
you did you bomb?
no,
Did you
oh no
talk
no no
over
no
people?
nope
Did you not
no
drink the eggnog and puke into the
no.
basket? Or you must have done something.
I was no, I was perfect. I mean, I will tell you. I talked to Sam Roberts about it. I talked to him about it right after right after I did the appearance. The appearance went fine. As a matter of fact, it went even better than fine because I had just done Letterman the night before, and I'd done panel with Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler was there, and Henry Winkler was walking by, and they're like, "Hey, it's the Fonz," and I go, "I know him," and they're like, "What?" And so I jump out of the studio. I watched the show so much, listened to the show so much that I knew how to behave. I knew it was good. So I jump out of the studio. I'm like, "Henry, come on in." I bring Henry Winkler in. It was a fun appearance. It was a really fun appearance.
My God. I was just picturing you going, Henry, you sticking your head out sideways like you did with Sam. Do you got time for a quick story?
We talked
Dude,
about his
Henry Winkler
dyslexia.
strikes me as so nice that he didn't even remember you, and the fact that you called him in there, he went in there anyways because he's such a sweetheart of a guy.
Oh yeah, and then he hung out. It was the only thing that was wrong with that
Wait,
appearance.
how do you know him? I want to see the degree you know him. You met him before? You did
No,
a failed pilot?
we had just done Letterman the night before together.
You don't know that guy.
I know him, Bill.
You don't
He's
even
my buddy.
remotely know that guy.
We had done Letterman. We had hung out in the hallway.
Conan with Jennifer Aniston. I don't fucking know her.
If you
You're
do
out
a
of your
late night
fucking mind.
Bert
Kreischer, you are out of your fucking mind. I know him. Wait. Did you do stand-up or panel?
Panel.
It's a little better, but not much.
I did 7 minutes of panel. And
he was the first guest.
It was him.
So he left, dude. He left.
No, he was there. He was there. Because when I got off, because they did 3 panels. It was Henry Winkler, Shia LaBeouf, and me. And they said, just so you know, you get 2 minutes. And I was like, wow. And then everyone was backstage, and they're like, that's not for everyone. It's just him. Unless Dave likes you, and then you'll get more. And so I was like, okay. And so I did 7 minutes, and I got off, and Henry Winkler was backstage. He was like, Dave must have really liked you. That was awesome. I had a good appearance. And Shia LaBeouf left, but Henry Winkler was back there, and I was like, oh yeah. And he was like, that was great. It was a really great appearance. Him and Biff, and I was like, oh, thank you. And so I left. And
all right. So then you saw him the very next day. Okay, that's not bad. All right.
The next morning I see him, and I'm like, Henry, and he was like, hey. I go, come on in. And he walked in, and they're like, and Opie's like, Bert knows Henry Winkler? And I was like, oh, we did Letterman last night. And then Henry Winkler came in. It was fun. It was a good appearance. The only thing that was wrong with that appearance, in my opinion, and this is a fan of Opie and Anthony, is I know you don't do prepared bits on that show, right? And that's not how that show worked. And I went in and I sat down. No one's paying attention. Everyone's on their phones. And Opie just goes, so what's this machine story everyone says I got to hear? And I'm in my head, I'm kind of like doing the show the way I think it should be done. I'm like, oh, it's a long story. It's not, you don't want to hear it. And he's like, no, tell it to us. And I was like, I don't think it's right. I hadn't even met them. And he's like, tell it to us.
That's a good Opie.
Yeah.
Like, that is the level. Like, when I first did that show, dude, I gotta be honest with you. All shows, I think that you really wanted the respect from.
Oh, that
always had that
so
vibe.
bad.
Stern, like a Howard Stern show. First time I did that a long time ago, it was the same thing where it was just like, in Letterman, it's like you're going into something that you so want to go well.
Yeah.
That the pressure is fucking crazy. Like, if you all three of those shows, Opie, Howard, Letterman, all three of those, if you walked in and didn't give a fuck what the stars of those shows thought, it would be a joke. You would have such a great appearance. But the thing is I think that pressure is caring. That's all it is, caring too much. So you have to trick yourself into not giving a fuck in enough of a way that you can get the job done, but not do it in a way like, hey, wash those dishes. I don't give a fuck. And you got leaving food on. I mean, you got to do the job right. But wow, dude, that just took me back.
Yeah.
I remember whenever Opie and Anthony would get a really good guest, I would be rooting for them. I would be listening to the show going, come on, guys, please don't do that O&A thing where for the show, you're gonna, was it cauterize another fucking artery?
Yeah.
To taking the show to another level. One of the worst and best things, which was what made the Opie and Anthony show so fucking great, was one time Leslie Nielsen called in. And fucking, it was Opie, Anthony, Jim Norton, and fucking Nick DiPaolo. And he called in. It was towards the end of his life. Oh, I mean, it was fucking brutal. And he was old and he couldn't hear and he couldn't figure out what they were doing. And I don't know where the fuck his publicist was, but the guy or woman should have got Leslie off the fucking phone within 30 seconds, dude. And it was just like, I mean, you ever been a fan of a boxer and then you just watch him get his ass kicked? Or like your favorite quarterback gets old?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh man, your favorite athlete or whatever. It was like that. But at the same time, the guy's doing the ass kicking. It was so bad. It was so fucking
watching.
I mean, as far as everything that I saw in there, where I was just like, I can't believe that they just are going to fucking do, like, it was the most uncomfortable thing ever. It was
almost like watching Opie and Anthony was a little bit the end of Donnie Brasco, when he's been made, but he's still got to go in every now and then, and you're like, fuck, are they gonna know there's a wire on him? Does he have a wire on him? Like, Opie and Anthony was there were times where you'd just be like, oh, please don't. They'd go, we got a great show. We got David Helen, Patrice O'Neal, Bill Burr, and we got Judge Judy coming in later, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Dude, did you ever see the one? I think Patrice was there too. This guy came in and he was promoting a book, and it was a bunch of puns with definitions to them, about bros. Like, all right, this is your bro that you only drink beers with. That's your broski. Like, they would level jokes like that. So they don't trash him right in the beginning. They let him do, it felt like 11 of those things. And I just kept remember Anthony going like, and they just let him keep going. And I want to say Patrice was there, and Patrice's silence was deafening. for like, I think this was the guest. It might have been, Patrice said it so much, but he finally just said, he just, in the middle of one of them, I think he just looked at Opie and Anthony. He said, Anthony, what year is it? Can you please explain why this motherfucker came in with a book of puns on this show? And they started trashing this fucking book. I forget if the guy called in or what, but it was like, it was like one of these things where like, you're just watching somebody walking into their death and they don't even fucking realize it.
Oh,
I swear to, I still to this day, when I fucking go to New York, I have this excitement. Oh, Opie and Anthony, it's not there anymore. It's just, it's like this, phantom limb every time I come back to that city.
So after that, I used to think I would be that pun guy. The next time they let me in, I would go in and they would have a setup to try to destroy me. Like, only because
that could happen. That could happen. That was definitely a subset of guests that you were coming in there and it was just going to be that they were turning on the humiliation button, full fucking power or whatever. And you were just going to be that thing. And it was like playing on a football team where it's like, all right, you're the starter now, but somebody else comes walking through that door and then they're doing your job better. You're now second string. And so like that thing, that's why I always said like the theme of that show should have been the wheels on the bus. Wheels on the bus go round and because I saw every single fucking person spend at least half a fucking like an hour and a half underneath those fucking wheels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had my fight planned. I knew what I'd say. I knew everything I was going to say. I had the moment I looked to Jimmy to help me out, and then the moment I had to turn on Jimmy. I remember all of it. I would lay in bed arguing, and they would say the most poignant things to me that were the things I thought of myself, and it was
brutal.
And then I never ended up doing Opie and Anthony again. I don't think, because I think they split up.
The table at the cellar was the same thing. Before I got there, I would just think of every possible comic that could be there, and I would get 2 or 3 insults ready to go. So I went in there, and I could lay down some cover so I could make it into the fucking trees. Yeah, and then just fucking hope that somebody else with a dumber looking shirt or whatever the fuck they were coming at me would just come walking in.
Hey, Eddie Ift. Oh, thank
Eddie,
God.
I was going to say that. Please, Eddie Ift.
Eddie should get a special pass into heaven. The amount of shit he took at that table.
You know, was another good one. Patrice and Kevin Brennan. Those were good ones.
Really?
Oh, those were good ones.
I don't remember.
I remember one time he said to Kevin, this is when we were still new. So, like, Kevin had status, man. He was one of the fucking guys, right? Still is, right? So, Patrice was just holding court, laughing, and just being like, just fucking as loud as you could possibly be. And I forget what the fuck Brennan said. He yelled over at him, like something to keep it down or something like that. I remember Patrice just looked over and he just goes, Kevin, shut your face. The way he said it. He said, I can't do it the way he did it. He said it with such like contempt. Like, how dare you talk to me? And went right back to talking. And me and Kevin Hart fucking laughed for like 20 fucking minutes. It was just the stupidest shit ever.